So good evening and welcome to Apprenticeships at HRUC. My name's Becky James. I'm the head of sales for HRUC, Apprenticeship and Skills Division. I'm joined by my colleagues, Natalina Powney, who's a business development consultant, and I'm also joined by Carol Goring, who's business development consultant as well. So the three of us are going to present today. So I want to start with really to talk about why we're here. Hopefully in this session, we're going to cover all things apprenticeships, what that means, a little bit about the myths, a bit about who we are, and just hopefully to give you a fuller and better understanding of the apprenticeship world and some of the challenges that are created with that, because I know there's a lot of information that you can get, and sometimes it can be a bit of a minefield. So who are we? So we are Harrow Richmond Uxbridge College Group. We've been established actually for about 60 years as a group and have come together as a merger of different colleges over a period of time. We currently have about 9,000 students in what we call our 16 to 18 provision. So young learners coming through, doing through from school, coming through to college environment. We also have a large provision for adult provision, which is your 19 plus, looking at building again from certain levels, building through. Not all come through to apprenticeships, but we have about 600 learners on programme. Overall, as we've been established, probably about 6,000 across a range of different apprenticeships, which we'll go through with you. And we also have about 400 higher education students. We have an established what's called an IoT, which is the Institute of Technology, which was set up in 2019. So looking at more of those technical topics, IT, data related, engineering element of it that's been well established over a period of time. So in terms of apprenticeships, so they're used it's about investing in talent really with an apprenticeship. The main benefit of looking at it is that you earn as you learn. So you're looking at how you get that increased engagement, what you're doing on program, as we call it, trying to avoid terminology this evening, but looking at how you can, in the job role that you're doing, how you can learn, how you can increase your motivation of what you're doing. For an employer, it's about increasing retention and also supporting the business to bring in new talent, taking the existing people that are already there, using them as mentors to grow and develop that learning. And that's really, really important, both for you as a learner, but also for an employer bringing you into that business. It gives them that depth and richness of understanding of what you're doing. So it is all about skills development. It's harnessing and building that talent, which is really, really key. In terms of apprenticeships, they can be done in two ways. So depending on how you look at it, we have twofold. You could come in as a new entrant into a business as an apprentice, be taken on as an apprentice across a certain pathway. So things, natural ones that people think about, plumbing, electrical, engineering that are done in college. And that's great for bringing in new talent to the business, building that training so that you understand the dynamic of what's happening with that employer. So as I said earlier, you're learning as you earn all the way through that. It also helps to build local talent. You know, would be normally local businesses that you're looking at, but there's also opportunity to look wider across the national piece. So with businesses that we work with who are larger employers, there is opportunity to move around those businesses and develop yourself. So it's about attracting new talent, but also investing in existing talent that's there. So it's not all about bringing in new apprentices. You may well be in a job yourself at the moment that you think, do you know what, I'd really like to do some more training, and an apprenticeship could be for you. So again, it's a combination of different skill sets that you're in to bring it in the new, but also train the existing staff that are already there. I'm not going to go through everything that's on the slide, but hopefully that gives you a bit of a feel and a flavour for how apprenticeships can be used. In terms of myth busting, a lot of people think that they've gone to university, they've got a degree, so I can't do an apprenticeship. That is a myth. In terms of what your apprenticeship is in, so for example, if you've done a degree in history and you want to go do an apprenticeship in engineering, that's fine. We look at what you've done in the past and your learning and your experience. It's around the job that you're in and what you're trying to achieve. So if you've, for example, you might have done a degree in engineering and you wanted to do an engineering apprenticeship, we would be looking at what you've learned in that degree and how much crossover there is, how much what we call recognition of prior learning that you've already done. Because we don't want to put you on an apprenticeship where you sit there and think, well, I've done all of this, I know it. So it's about making sure that you've got the right level of learning in there. So yes, you can have a degree and you can do an apprenticeship, obviously depending on the degree and the apprenticeship that you're looking at. Another myth is that apprenticeship training isn't of a high standard. It absolutely is. We are measured in terms of what we do across delivery. We're measured in our outcomes in terms of how people come out at the other end across the endpoint assessment, how you're doing on program. So there's a lot of mandated requirements that we have through across the college and any other training provider that you might work with to deliver to a standard. It's really, really important that we keep to that standard. Apprenticeships, as I alluded to earlier, they're not just for young people. You can do an apprenticeship right up to a nearly retirement age. So right across the board, from coming in as a young learner right up to near retirement age, shall we say, or to retirement, you can go right way through. And also apprenticeships aren't just for low level qualifications. They're not. You can get a degree through a degree apprenticeship. There's also level 7 apprenticeships, which are equivalent to master's levels. So they go right through from a level 2, which is equivalent to sort of early O level, I would say, sort of GCSE level, right up to a master's level. So right across. So you've got the broad spectrum in terms of what you want to do. The other benefit is that you can also go through in terms of levels. So if you're deciding you want to go up, you can do that in terms of a chosen career. If you wanted to start at a level 3, you could then jump to a 5, and you might decide you want to do a 7 if they do those apprenticeships in your chosen area. So quite a lot of opportunity for you to develop yourself. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague, Natalina.
Hi everybody, lovely to meet you. So I'm Natalina. As I said, I work in the apprenticeship team as well. So we're just going to go through some of the areas that there are opportunities for apprenticeships. So we have business professional. This covers quite a broad range, and these are what you would think as maybe your office type roles, your business type roles. So you're thinking of HR, business administration, customer service, finance, IT can fall into that as well. So it covers quite a broad range. Then you've got childcare and education. This is again from nurseries, private nurseries, school nurseries, and then through to teaching assistants. Hospitality, we have many chefs, commis chef, production chef, working in fantastic restaurants up and down through London. Adult care and clinical, so again hospital settings or care home settings, you're looking at care workers and support workers. Technical apprenticeships would be things like your engineering, you have plumbing, construction, and some of those would be IT. Again, this is just a small area of what we cover. And then leadership and management. So once you've sort of got the foundation of your knowledge and you want to move up to maybe doing team leading and then management, those would be the qualifications for you. So some of our apprenticeships, the apprentices that we have had come through with us over the last few years. So going back to the West London Awards in 2023, we had 4 apprentices who were shortlisted for Apprentice of the Year, which was fantastic. I believe, if I remember rightly, there was only about 6 or 7 entrants in that category, and we actually had 4 students in there. So that was such a great achievement. And one of our commis chefs actually did win Apprentice of the Year for that area, which was brilliant. And then you can see here, just as an example, one of our IT support technician students, Tyler Lewis, actually got gold, and that was from our Uxbridge campus. And again, we've got sort of he won gold at the World Skills Awards as well, which is, as it says, an Olympic style competition, and it's great motivation for the students to be nominated for those. So what is an apprenticeship? So Becky's briefly touched on this earlier, and we'll just cover off some of those bits as well, a little bit more of the technical side of things. So it is a real job. You will be going to work. Most of this will be full time. So you'll go to work, you will earn a salary, you'll get holiday entitlement as well. So all of that, whilst you will have your 1 day at college, and then at the end of the programme, you'll get your qualification. So you must be 16 years at minimum, or over, as Becky said as well, up to retirement age. So there's a great scope throughout many careers for you to do an apprenticeship. It will be full-time, but you must work at least 30 hours a week, and that can include your college day as well. And that's something we'll discuss with the employer. If it is less than that for any reason, then we'll sort of look at that as a case-by-case basis. You will get a minimum weekly wage, a minimum hourly wage of £6.40. So that is likely to change in April as well. That'll be going up. So that's the minimum apprenticeship wage. But we do encourage many of our employers to pay much more than that, especially sort of if you're centred in London for your work as well, just to accommodate travel and things. So you're based in the workplace, so you will go to work daily, you'll be involved in team, so you'll have that, you'll develop those communication skills. Around 20% of your working week will be studying for the qualification. You will come to our campus. So we have them at Uxbridge, Hayes, Richmond, Harrow, or it will be delivered remotely. So what that means, as we are now, it's a live call with the tutor and the other members of your class who are studying the same qualification. So most apprenticeships, they are a minimum of 12 months. They do vary according to subject. Some of our technical ones and higher qualifications can go on for that bit longer, and they can go up to 4 years. But at minimum, you will be looking at 12 months for your qualification. So the benefits, this is something everyone always asks. Yes, you will earn a salary, so that's great. So that really helps you. You know, if you're coming in from school, it gives you that independence. You're able to help out family, or again, if you're getting back into work, you're able to study whilst earning a salary as well. So free training, you're not having to cover the cost for any of this training. It will either be covered by the government or by the company that you're working for if they pay into an apprenticeship levy, which is like a fund that they have to cover all training costs for apprenticeships. But for you, there's no cost for you. You will gain relevant work experience, and we say transferable skills. Those are skills that you can take from one job to another. Generally, those are things like you're learning how to communicate, you're learning project planning, working within a team. So those are all things that you will develop by going into the workplace daily. You'll get your recognised qualification, and these are actually, the qualifications are designed by employers. We work with some really large employers, NHS, Heathrow Airport, and they help sort of shape the qualification and the standards. So they tell us what is needed for in the workplace. What are they looking for? You can progress onto higher education. This was mentioned again earlier. So you can come in at, maybe if we're looking at accountancy as an example, you're coming in at level 2. That employer, and we have it through many employers, they'll say it's now finished, we want to put them on to doing their level 3 and then their level 4. So they're investing in you to get you up through the different stages of that qualification. And you get discounts, so you can get Oyster Travel, so TfL Oyster Travel, NUS, which is the student discount cards as well. So there's many different things. Once you're signed up, you'll be able to log in and get your discount cards. So how to become an apprentice? Oh,
sorry.
So how do I become an apprentice? So really look into what it is that you want to do. So it's great to have an idea as to what area you want to go into. You might not necessarily know what the course is called, and that's fine, but at least have an idea of, you know, if you think engineering, there's so many different engineering areas, but you're not sure what. At least have a look, research some. You can go into the .gov website and at least have a little look there, but we're also there to help you shape and sort of direct which area you want to go into. So once you sort of know an area that you want to go into, again, you can go onto the .gov website for apprenticeships. You can type in maybe it'd be hairdressing or maybe childcare, and you can put that in and you can see if there's a specific course for something that you want to do. Again, we're here to help you, guide you in that area as well. So you will have a job where the employer can support you through the apprenticeship. So this is something you can look for yourself. It's always really encouraged for apprentices or potential apprentices to start researching employers where they want to work. One, it gives the employer great sort of, for them, knowledge that you're going into them and asking them, do you have availability for an apprenticeship? I'd like to come and work for you. So it's really good on your behalf. You will need an up-to-date CV. So you need to highlight things like your experience, what your qualifications have, what skills do you have? Skills can be IT skills, they could be personal skills, like you're really good at communicating, listening, helping others. So all of those things you should highlight on your CV. And we'll work through these things with you as part of our recruitment process. Last of all is the dedication to attend the programme. So there will be weekly sessions at college or online that you will need to attend as well, but also it's getting to work on time, making sure you're showing up for the classes, completing the assignments that are sort of being processed for you. So I'm going to hand over to Carol, my colleague.
Thanks, Natalina. So I'm going to look at the eligibility checks that you'll need to go through. So the first piece of evidence would be to evidence whether you are a UK resident, and you would have need to have been a resident for 3 years concurrently. If you aren't a UK resident, then we would need to have your right to work or your right to live in the UK share codes. And if you are working within an organisation where you might work from multi-sites, and some of those are in Wales or Scotland, you would have to be doing at least 50% of that work within a English business. Your minimum entry requirements for a level 2 apprenticeship are GCSE Maths and English at a grade 3 or the D grade. A level 3 apprenticeship, you would need to have Maths and English at a grade 4 and above. And for level 4 apprenticeships, you'd need to have an A-level or a BTEC at level 3 qualification and your GCSEs in English at a 4 and above. The equivalents of the apprenticeship levels. So a level 2 apprenticeship gives you the equivalent of 5 GCSEs grades 9 to 4 or the A to C grades. The level 3 apprenticeship gives you the equivalent of 2 A levels. A level 4 and 5 gives you the equivalent of a foundation degree, and the levels 6 and 7 apprenticeships will give you the equivalent of a bachelor's or a master's degree. So the application process, you can either apply via the HRUC website if you're looking at the vacancies in our website, either the National Apprenticeship Service, so find an apprenticeship, and not going to uni. And all 3 of those will come through to us and we'll be able to pick up your application. So you'll go through a 2-part interview and assessment process. The first part is BKSBs, which are initial Maths and English assessments. And then we will have to look at your documents to make sure you're eligible for your funding. So we look at your passports, driving licenses, etc., residency cards and share codes. And then we would need to see your GCSE certificates and your CV. At that point, we would then organise an interview with the curriculum assessor. So if you were looking to do a business apprenticeship, then obviously it would be a business assessor that would contact you, interview you and go through a skill scan. And what we do is we look at what prior learning you have against the qualification to ensure that you're actually enrolling onto the right programs with us. Once that has all been completed and approved, then your CV will go out to any employers that are relevant to the qualification you're looking to do, and obviously that would be with your agreement. So we wouldn't just send them, you would have to agree and have a conversation about those employers. If you're shortlisted for a job interview, we'll arrange that for you. And if you're successful at the interview, the employer will offer you the job role. And at that point, they will confirm that with HRUC, and we would then organise your enrolment date for you. And during your apprenticeship programme, you will be allocated an individual skills tutor. You'll also gain access to an e-portfolio, so all the evidence of your work will be uploaded onto an e-portfolio. You're assigned a work-based mentor, so that would be somebody within your workplace who is either a line manager or someone that is actually going to monitor what you're doing, provide you with their knowledge, and obviously allocate you the time to work on your qualification with us. You will have regular progress meetings with your tutor and the employer to ensure that everything is as it should be on programme for you, and we'll make any adaptations that we need to from those meetings. You'll also be given learner resources and workbooks, and you will have a tailored training plan. So everybody has an individual tailored training plan based on the needs. If required, then we can offer additional learning support with an ALS as well. These are some of our current vacancies, and as you will see, they are not all on minimum wage. There are some where the employer is paying over and above the minimum apprenticeship wage. This just gives you an indication of various different opportunities that you would have if you speak to our recruitment team. And again, you'll also find them on the HRUC website, on the National Apprenticeship Service, and Not Going to Uni websites as well.
Thank you, Carol. So we do have some questions which I've published into the chat. So I'm hopefully with a couple of them, we've picked up some. One of the questions was entry level, what entry level is required. So I'm hoping that we've covered that off in terms of the maths and English. The question was, I have entry level 1 or 3 in English. Is there a course that requires that? So I think earlier you mentioned about the minimum entry levels required. So I'm hoping that sort of covers that off in terms of being a level, what is required for a level 2, level 3, level 4. One of the questions was, do you have an apprenticeship level 4 and above in engineering after the T level? So I can answer that. We do a level 3 in engineering apprenticeship across Richmond and Uxbridge campuses. There's a couple of different ones that we do, and you may have noticed we've got vacancies that we're looking for on behalf of employers across engineering apprenticeships as well. There are a couple of different standards that we offer, so it's worth looking at our website. The details will come up at the end of this presentation in terms of what we currently offer. It would also depend on if you're coming off from a T level, which is fine. You can go on to do an apprenticeship. It's just worth looking at where you're based and which one works for you, because you've got maintenance technician, which is the MOE one. You've also got we do a specific engineering maintenance one as well. So there's some different ones. You've got mechatronics as well. So there are a couple of different ones that we do. So it's worth having a look at those overall. Okay. Natalina, I'm going to put you on the spot. The question here is there an apprenticeship in Harrow? I'm linked there. I live in between Burnt Oak and Colindale.
Okay, so we have got, it depends on, was it for any type of qualification? Let's just have a look at the question again. So
it doesn't say, to be honest.
It doesn't say. We do, so we look at all areas. One thing we can do is if you come through to us and you would like to do an apprenticeship, and let's say as an example, it might be business administration. What I would do is if we don't currently have a vacancy, I would then look at, part of my role is to go out there, approach businesses and say, look, we've got a fantastic student. They're looking at coming on to doing an apprenticeship with us in business administration. Would you like to look at their CV? Is this something you'd thought about taking on as an apprentice for? That's part of my role. I did mention earlier, it's always good for you to maybe approach companies yourself. It gives them, it's really good initiative for you to approach them directly and say, I'm looking for an apprenticeship in administration or finance, whatever it may be. would you be able to help me with that? And then we're always happy to liaise with the company and give them more information, because many companies don't understand what apprenticeships are. So we're then happy to be that go-between. But if there isn't something that we, if we don't currently have anything, then we will go and sort of make those inquiries for you.
Thank you, Natalina. There's one here. I already have a master's degree in business and digital marketing from UK, but I need work experience. Can I sign up for an apprenticeship? So I'm happy to take that one. The apprenticeship is aligned to a job. So it's around making sure that the job that you wanted to do, if you want to do a digital marketing or you want to do an apprenticeship that's relatable to marketing, it's finding a role in, if that's what you want to do, within the marketing sector. So it's really about finding that right role to do it. So I would say it's sort of a bit of both. You need to find the right role so you can get the experience, but obviously you can't get experience without the role. So it's just making sure that you put yourself out there, even if it's just doing a little bit of something to give you some work experience that potentially, if it is working in a relatable, digital marketing or business section of a business, that starts to help, because they can put you on an apprenticeship if there's key things that you want to learn. The challenge with it, if you want to stay in marketing, is obviously you've learned a lot from your masters, but maybe you look at doing something wider than that. So it's just having a look around at the role and making sure that's sort of relevant for you, really. So you still can sign up. It just depends on the role that you're looking for and what you're looking to do. There was a question on here about, I have a City and Guilds qualification. Will that affect my chances of getting an apprenticeship? It depends what your City and Guilds qualification is. It won't impact your chances of getting an apprenticeship. Having a qualification already is fine. It depends, again, what apprenticeship you're looking to do, what your City and Guilds qualification is in, etc. So there's lots of always, we come back, I feel that a lot going, well, it depends on this and that. There's nothing set in stone. Again, it depends on what your qualification is in and what you're looking to do. So hopefully, if anything, it should help your chances, because if you've got some knowledge already and you're looking to progress and upskill yourself, then that's always a positive. Getting a couple of questions around admin. So about getting into the admin side of things. Again, Natalina, are you comfortable? What qualifications do you need for admin, getting into admin?
Yep, so business admin is one of the areas that I look after. So it is grade 4, which is, so grade 4 at minimum. If you don't have these, again, it's something we can look at, but that is the, preferred is grade 4 at minimum. But as we've said before, it is a case by case. We can help work with you if there's something, if you don't have your maths or English for that. But as business administration, we certainly get a lot of inquiries for business administration, and we've got several vacancies on our website as well. So if you visit the HRUC apprenticeship website, and details will come up at the end of the this session, you can view our vacancies, and I think there's maybe about 4 or 5 on there for business admin, which is great.
Hopefully we've covered in terms of eligibility that Carol picked up around live and right to work. So if you've been in the UK for 3 years, again, it's looking at the qualifications. I know there was a question around the qualification in the UK, but sorry, don't have the qualifications UK, but in country. Again, we look at some of that. But with apprenticeships, doing your maths and English functional skills, that's probably the most important. And also that you've been here. You've got live and right to work in the UK for, you've been here for 3 years or more. So we will look at that right at the beginning in terms of eligibility, in terms of putting you forward for an apprenticeship. I
don't have any qualifications in the UK, but I have from my country in Afghanistan. Can I do an apprenticeship? So what we'd need to do is do a statement of, or you'd need to apply for a statement of comparability. This is available for you to get on a company, on a website called ENIC. You can type into Google statement of comparability for maths and English grades or certificate grades, and you'll have to submit your certificates and your grades, and then what they'll do is they'll do a comparison against what it will come up as for the UK equivalent of those. So that's something you'd need to get. So it always helps if you're able to do that when you're, as you approach us to look to do your apprenticeship. So it's not a no, but we need to understand what your equivalent grade is for the UK version.
If you're interested in finding out about apprenticeships, go to our website. You can also email the recruitment team at apprenticeships@hruc.ac.uk, or give them a call on that dedicated number that's on the slide, as you can see now. Hope they should be able to answer any of your questions. Also, if you go to the website, there's more details around the range of courses. So we talked about some of the sectors that we do offer. It gives you much more details, and there are also fact sheets on there for you. If you'll see it, say for the apprentice, there for you to download, to have a look at, to give you a feel and a flavour for the type of job role that somebody would be doing in a certain type of apprenticeship, and hopefully gives you more detail in terms of what's covered and the time scale. So I'm hoping that we've covered pretty much most of the questions. If there's anything we've missed, or anybody else has got other questions that you think of afterwards, which is obviously absolutely fine, please do get in touch with us. Our details are on here, and we're happy to share and support any other questions that you might have. So thank you for your time, and thank you for joining us this evening. I hope you found it useful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.